Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our session, and believe that you guys are doing good this morning. So, this is our first online session of the semester. So let's hope that the network is not going to give us issues. So, but if there is a problem with the network, um, I will probably get disconnected, and you can wait online, and I'll try my best to join the session again. So you can see on Moodle there are two sessions, or you have two parts, part one and part two. So the reason why I separated the two sessions is just to help students who are going to watch the recording, because watching a recording or a video of 2 hours is tiring, you know. So that's why I separated the two sessions. So at the end of this current session, we're going to exit it and join part two. The link is also there. And we just also need to be mindful of the time that you're supposed to end this session here and join the other one. I think the other one part two will join at 11:20, and this one will finish around 11:15. So just be mindful of that. When that time arrives, we just need to exit this one and join the other session, because the recording will be shorter than having a 2 hours or more video to watch afterwards. As I said, this session is just for us to be a bit ahead of our content, because according to the learning guide, we're supposed to cover this chapter and complete it when we come back from the recess. So that's why I decided to have this session online. And the other reason is that the test week is finishing tomorrow. And from tomorrow, we won't have like enough periods or times to complete the first part of this chapter. So that's why I decided to have this online, so that the recording will be there. Any student coming late or didn't have time to attend, I know some of the students are writing and all that, they can still catch up with the recording, as well as student on GFC. Right, guys. I believe that you guys can hear me, but the recording has also started. So before we get started, I just briefly want to talk about the test. So test one, I've started marking some scripts, especially those on APB, so the transportation student. And the first thing that I can see is that I don't know. I don't know if students are not attending, or those that I have currently marked are the one who are not attending or didn't attend. I don't know, because the the script that I have marked, they don't look good. They don't look good. Um, a lot of students are failing, you know. So I don't know, but we're going to get more into this, and I will also try my best to check the attendance list. If the students who are struggling or are failing are the ones who do not attend classes, but it doesn't look good. But we'll talk about it. Obviously, we're gonna get your script after the recess, because there are a lot, you know. Something like 400 script to mark. It's not an easy thing to do. But I will make sure that when we meet after the recess, your script would be ready. All right, so quickly in terms of the assignment. So this week and the recess period is also going to allow you to meet with your different group members and start tackling the assignment. Please ensure that you come together and discuss whatever need to discuss, and then you compile your assignment and submit on time. So this is going to be our last class for this term. So I will see you obviously after the recess. So whatever we're going to cover today, for those who are not here, please encourage them to catch up with the content, because when we are going to meet, I won't come back to this. I'll be just moving from where we're going to stop today. Right. I hope that has given you guys an overview of about the test and the assignment and about our planning. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to raise up your hand. There is a button there. You just press and then it will show that you want to say something. And the other thing, when I'm sharing the screen, it won't be easy for me to see a hands that is up or someone want to say something. So you can just stop me straight away. If you want to contribute, you want to say something, or probably my audio is not that good, it's breaking and all that, you can just stop me straight away. You unmute yourself and then you say whatever you want to say. Right. Also, please make sure that your mics are off unless you want to say something, and then you can unmute and interrupt me straight away. All right, so today we're going to look at chapter 5 from the textbook, Design of Goods and Services. So this is what we are going to talk about today. So I'm going to share my screen shortly. I will share, let me share my entire screen so that whatever I'll be doing, you guys can see. All right, guys, I believe that you guys can see my screen now because I'm sharing it. If you cannot see, please let me know right before I proceed. But I believe that you guys can see my screen. But you know, technology has some tricks sometimes. So if it's not visible, please let me know. So the chapter that we are going to talk about is titled Design of Goods and Services. So here we're going to talk about techniques that are used in terms of designing products and designing services, and what is also motivating companies to come up with new services, new product, and how do they get the information in terms of incorporating this information into the product that they are planning to design. So we're going to see all those concepts, and we're also going to talk about the technology that is used, right, in designing goods and services, and especially when it comes to product production. So we're going to see those techniques, and we're also going to talk about what you call the voice of the customers, right? Where companies acquire or get the information, right, or the requirements from in order to incorporate those requirements into a given product or a service. Obviously, a service that is produced according to the customer's requirement or desires or specifications. So we're going to see all that. So the objective of a product design, right, is to develop and implement a product strategy that meets the demands of the marketplace with a competitive advantage. So when we are talking about the product design, we are not talking about a company designing its own product, because those products must be designed based on the customer's requirement. So they must be designed by taking into account customers' desires, customer wants. What do customer want about a product, right? And obviously, for a company to get specific requirement, it need to do what you call a market research. And that is where a company is able to get the information from, right? And then that information can be incorporated into a product features, right? And this has to meet the market demand. And the market demand here is basically the customers, right? So why design or redesign product and services? What are the reasons, right, motivating companies to design or redesign their product or services? It says that the main forces that initiate design or redesign are market opportunities and threat, right? So, market opportunity just to bring business, right? Customers are developing new desires, new wants, right? So a company or companies need to respond to those new developments in order to remain competitive. Because if a company cannot respond to the changes in the market, there is a higher possibility for that company not to cope with the competition and obviously go bankruptcy, right? They say the factors that give rise to market opportunity and threat can be one or more changes. Economic. So in terms of the demand, right, excessive warranty claims, the need to reduce cost are some of the causes in relation to the economical situation of a country, right? The more the demand is high, the more the company is thriving to satisfy the demand from the market, right? So that is also something that a company need to take into account when it comes to designing and redesigning products or services. It says social and demographic. So this is also speaks to the size of the population, right? So in the case whereby you find out that in a country, um, people, right, the inhabitants are having more children than before, that is going to increase the number of people wanting a specific product, like strollers for kids and all that. So a company need to be aware of those product, all those changes or development in the market in order to respond to the shift in population or the shift in the demographical environment. um Political liability or legal. So here it speaks to the changes that is happening from a political perspective. I know some people will say that okay, they are not interested in politics, right? But if you are an operations manager, even if you are not interested in politics, but you should be able to keep an eye on what is happening in the political arena in order to always be ahead of the competition of the regulations that are put forward by the government. Because the laws that are voted or adopted in parliament are going to affect you as a business operator at some point. You see, for instance, what is happening between America and other countries around the world, such as China, and countries in Europe, and obviously a country in Africa at some point, but it's not clearly said. But we know that the US is imposing some kind of tariffs, right, on products coming from other countries to the US, right? So if you're an operations manager, you need to be aware of that, because price is going to be a problem there, right? The cost of exporting your product, let's say from South Africa to the US, is going to be high. So how are you going to adjust to those changes? And obviously, this is related to the political arena, right? So even if you say that, okay, you are not interested in politics, but laws or regulations that are adopted there in parliament are going to somehow affect your business, how your business operate, how you deal with your customers, in terms of how you're going to set your product prices and all that, right? Competitive. So competitive is related to the competition, right? And obviously, you cannot have a company without competition, because competition is also an important element that help you as a business in order to always improve your product or services and be the best in the market, right? And this is important for a business that is trying to thrive, right? Trying to be in control of what is happening in its industry, right? Ensuring that the right product is provided to the customers, and that also need to be well accepted by the customers. And then number 5 talks about cost or availability. So this will could also be related to the raw materials that you are getting as a company, right? If you are getting raw materials from overseas, you're going to decide whether you're going to probably expand your business activities to that country, right? Locate your business close to your supply chain, right? So how are you going to interact with your suppliers, right? And what are the costs involved in shipping those raw materials from overseas, for instance, to South Africa here, right? So all this has to be taken into account. And lastly, not the least, is technology. As you guys know, nowadays, any business that you are running, technology should be incorporated in order to enhance the company's productivity, and also the way the company deals with customers and also with its suppliers. So this speaks to the improvement of the processes, and obviously the improvement in the final product and also in the final service. And the voice of customers comes into play here. How the company is going to use technology in order to understand customers' behavior, customers' purchasing behavior, and all that, right? So technology is important. Even now, what you are using is technology. If this was not available, I don't know, we'll probably try to have a face-to-face session, which would be extremely challenging, right? Because now the test week is finishing tomorrow, and probably on Tuesday, on Wednesday, some people, even now, some students have already traveled, right? Because I received an email from one student saying that I think that was on Friday, that they are traveling, so they won't be able to attend classes this week and all that. So by using technology, we are able to ensure that almost everyone can attend this session online. Whether you just need to have access to internet in order to attend this session. And obviously, you can also watch the recording afterwards. So, guys, this is the theory, right? The theory, just setting up the platform for us to get into calculations and also understand what we'll be doing there. because this chapter has, I'm not going to say calculations, but there are some, I don't know if I'm going to call them calculations. We'll be doing a bit of calculations, but they are not really those calculations where you really need to stretch your head and all that, right? Just some graphical representation, some tables that you need to fill in and then do a bit of calculations at the end, something like that. But we'll talk about that. That is what you call the house of quality. So that is where we're going to do some small calculations there. Guys, if remember this session will end at 11:15. So if we reach 11:15, please don't forget to let me know so that we can shift to the other uh, session and leave this one. So what are the key questions in product and service design? I'm not going to enter into all this theory, not to confuse you. When they are saying what are the key questions, so this is leading you as an operations manager or you as the owner of the company to double check what are the elements that you need to take into account in order for you to design a product or to design a service and deliver it to customers, right? So some of the questions from a company's perspective, no, let's start with a customer's perspective, right? When a customer is deciding on buying a product, right, or acquiring a certain service, a customer will decide on the cost and also on the quality of that product or service. And obviously, we're also going to talk about the performance, right? Because quality is usually related to the performance. But their product should be affordable from a customer's perspective and should be reliable or should perform well, you know, based on the time frame indicated, right? Otherwise, the customer won't be happy with that product or service. Now, from the organization standpoint or perspective, is that the company will ask itself, are there customers that are going to buy the product that we are designing? Do we have the skills? Do we have the capacity? Do we have the raw materials? Do you have the employees, right, with the knowledge, the appropriate knowledge? Do we have the technology in order to implement what we are planning to implement for a product, right? So all these kind of questions are important for a manager to gather critical information that are going to enable, right, the manager to have their team together and in order to design a product and obviously produce that product and deliver to customers. So if you are operating from a manufacturing industry, asking yourself all these questions is what you call manufacturability. So if you are able to do that, right, you are able to get the skills, right? You are able to have the capacity, the environment that is conducive for you to do business. The demand is there. This is what you call manufacturability. So if you're operating from a service sector, this is what you call serviceability, right? So asking yourself or the organization these questions in order to prepare or ensure that the company is capable of producing a given product. And this usually takes place from a concurrent engineering point of view, right? We're going to see that term there. It's what you call a cross-functional team, right? Whereby engineers or employees from different departments, right, will meet in order to discuss a design of a product. All right. Every product that you see on the market today has to be designed before it can be released. Even these computers that we are using, before it was an idea, right? It was an idea, and now today it's a product that we are relying on in order to deliver our teaching and learning activity and doing other sort of activities. So, when we're talking about product life cycle, I think we have already largely discussed product life cycle, but I saw it came even in the test. Some of you couldn't even explain anything there, even some example, they couldn't even provide examples. And I remember I say that when we are asking you example in relation to product life cycle, we are not telling you, or I'm not telling you to take one product and start talking about that same product across the four stages, all right? Because we have to be practical. Currently, what is the product is that is at the introduction phase? That's what I wanted. At the growth phase, currently, what is the product is that the growth phase according to your understanding and your knowledge or what you learned in class? Maturity, what product that is currently doing well or is at the maturity level, right? Not taking a product, you take Coca-Cola, I don't know what Coca-Cola product, and you spread it across the four stages and start explaining because that is not practical, right? At the declining phase, which product that is currently is declining, that the company is struggling to sell according to your understanding, and then we justify. That's what I needed. So we have already spoken about that. If you want to get more insight, you can still read this just to help you get more insight in case you encounter the same question about product life cycle, right? So let's look at the other issues to consider. Um, Standardization. Guys, can you hear me? Please unmute yourself and give me some feedback there if you guys can hear me. Ladies and gentlemen, can you please give me some feedback so that I know
Yes,
that
sir.
you... Oh, beautiful stuff. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Yes.
You beautiful. You know the thing with online classes, I mean, that is what is good. Some of the checklist that we always have to do. Awesome. Just to ensure that you guys can hear me because sometimes um the I can get disconnected without being notified, right? And I keep talking like that while you know that we really need to record this session. Beautiful stuff. So for those who are here, please ensure that you tell the student who couldn't make it today, all right, to watch this recording before we start, because when we are going to start, I'm not going to come back to this unless if you said you watched the recording, probably you didn't understand a specific concept or a specific area. You can come and then we can discuss, or I can just go back during our upcoming session and discuss that content and move on. All right. So, degree of standardization. Oh, guys, I'm getting one because I remember the first time when I pronounced this term, standardization, it was a problem for me, but I'm getting there now. It says standardization is the extent to which a product, service, or a process lacks variety. I don't know if this is clear to you, right? I don't know if this is very, very clear to you. So a product that is standardized, what does that mean? That a product that lacks variety? No, this product can be produced in a large quantities. What is standardization? Because here it's a business definition, but you can also define standardization from an ordinary perspective, right, or standpoint. So standardization is also could be described as a process, right? A product that is conform, right, to the specifications, right? Remember, we have, for instance, in the production line, right? There are processes, and processes they have specifications, right? So different, intervals where a process need to operate within, right? So if a process is operating within that, that's what you call standardization. And when processes are standardized, the end result is producing products that are also standardized. So you just need to be a bit careful there, because when you say that a process that lacks variety, don't perceive this as a negative aspect, right? Don't perceive as a negative aspect. It's just a process, a service, or a product that is conformed, right, to the set specifications. It says standardized products are made in large quantities of identical items. And you have an example here like calculators, right? Computers, full cream milk are good example of standardized product, right? Because they are made in large quantities and this product are standardized. So when a product is standardized, the company can easily make that product in large quantities, right? In large quantities. But if a product has different customization element in it, it's quite difficult for a company to produce that product in large quantity. But we are going to look at the difference between mass customization or customization and standardization, right? It says standardized service implies that every customer or item process receives essentially the same service, right? And you have an example here of a car wash, right? Which is a good example of a standardization process, right? So, or service. So a car, whether your car is dirty or not, if you go to the car wash, they are going to use water and their detergent or soap in order to wash your car. But at some point, you can also customize it. How can I say customize it? Not customize it. You can, a customer may want extra, services uh, in the process. Probably you can decide now to polish the car, right? For those customers who are going to decide that their car must be polished, that process will also be the same, right? It will be the same chemicals that the people working there are going to use in order to, polish your car. But at the end of the day, or generally speaking, when you go to a car wash, water, detergent, or soap is used in order to wash your car. Whether your car is too dirty or not, that will be the same process that your car is going to follow, right? It says standardized processes deliver standardized service or produce standardized good. So when a process is standardized, so the outcome or what is going to come out of that process will be also standardized, whether it's a product or it's a service, right? Now, this is where it's gonna get to gonna get interesting, right? It's gonna get interesting. Um, companies uh like or prefer, right, standardization. Why? Because they are able to produce in high volumes, large quantities, right, of product, or delivering services in a large volume to customers, right? So the issue here comes where customers, on the other hand, they prefer, right, product or services that are customized according to their individual taste, right? So this becomes a dilemma from a company's perspective, right? So customers, they prefer products or services that are produced according to their individual requirements, right? And companies, on the other hand, they prefer standardization, standardized products so that they can produce in large quantities and obviously make more money in the process. And in that case, also producing such products or delivering such services requires less effort because everything is already in place. And that also reduces the need for quality checks and all that because employees, everything is set in that process of standardization. But when it comes to customization, it becomes a problem because individual customers want to get their product based on their own requirement, right? And this becomes a dilemma from a company's perspective. As an operations manager, how are you going to deal with that? Because mass customization is producing, product based on customers' specific requirement. So how do you deal with that? So in order for an operations manager or a company to deal with this dilemma of standardization and mass customization, a company needs to use what you call delay differentiation. So delay differentiation here is the option, right, or the strategy that is essential in this case here. And what is delay differentiation? It's a delay differentiation is a postponement tactics, right? The process of producing but not quite completing a product or a service, postponing completion until customer preferences or specifications are known. And if you check this carefully, um, you have also an example here before I give some explanation. It's an example. In the case of goods, almost finished unit might be held in inventory until customer orders are received, at which time customized features are incorporated according to customer request. Let's just put this into perspective so that we can understand this concept of delayed differentiation. Let's say you want to, soon is going to be lunchtime, and I know some of you or some of us like eating, chips, right? Chips. So now you and your friend, you go to the student center and you guys are interested in buying some chips, right? And a customer, I mean, you as a customer, you will decide, one of you will decide to eat, want his or her uh, chips, very crispy, right? Crispy chips, right? And the other one will say, no, I want wet, wet chips. No, those ones that are not crispy, right? The opposite of crispy. I don't know. You guys can find that out. So now when you go there, you make your orders, right? You make your orders and you find out that it doesn't take long for your chips to be ready, for you to receive your chips, obviously after paying. You're not going to get your chips without paying, right? You find out that it doesn't take long for both of you to get your chips. So how do they do that? So these chips are pre-made, right? Pre-cooked. So they are cooked until a certain level, right? But not completely cooked. So that when you come and then you say you want crispy chips, they are able to just put them, you know, in the oil there that is already boiling. So in a few minutes, your chips will be ready. The one also want wet chips, right? Those who are not crispy, they will also just put it there fast on, put in the oil, right? That is already boiling there, and then they give you chips. So this is where this concept of delayed differentiation is quite important, so that it can reduce the waiting time of the customer, right? And in this case, you'll be so happy because it didn't take long in order to, you know, get your order. And this also applies, for instance, to most of the fast food restaurant like KFC, Chicken Licken, you know, McDonald's, you know, because that reduces the waiting time. Right. And it also applies to the car manufacturing, you know, industry, whereby cars are made in a mass production system, right? But they wait until customers now comes for specific features that they want to see in their cars. Could be the kind of light that they want to see in their cars, and then the company is able to incorporate that, you know, into the vehicle, and then that could be can be released to the customer in a very short period of time, right? So that is the importance of mass of delayed differentiation. So it comes to help, right, or to solve the problems between standardization and mass customization. And what is modular design? So modular design is a form of standardization, right? So still contribute to the concept of standardization in which component parts are subdivided into modules. So modules here are parts, right, that are easily replaced or interchanged. So if you take the case of a laptop, for instance, a laptop is made of different component or different part. You have the screen, the keyboard, and other accessories that come along. So that is just to help the process. If like you have a problem with the screen, you can just go to the repair shop and then they change the screen, they put a new screen, and then your computer is back to normal, right? If you have a problem with the keyboard, you go to the repair shop, they change the keyboard, and then you are back to your laptop is back to its full functionalities, right? So this is important in terms of repairing, also checking the issues in the product, and it's also important in terms of the production line, right? This is also speed ups the process, as different processes will focus on different, you know, parts of that product. So reliability, this is developed in chapter 17, so I don't want to waste my time here. For those who are going to, obviously in your case, you won't be seeing reliability. This will be for those who are doing ops and management services. So they will see this in their third year. There will be a lot of calculations here in order to check the reliability of a product, the reliability of a system, right? All those calculations, and then come up with an analysis and make an informed decision based on the calculations. So, what time is it now? Uh, okay, it's 11:15. 11:15 from my side. So, guys, we're going to for this session, we're gonna stop here. And we're going to join the next session, right, at 11:20. I think that is what is written there. Or just check the time there that we're supposed to join the second session or part 2. So join part 2 there at 11:20. In the meantime, you can take a cup of coffee or tea if you're at home, or whatever you are, if you can, right? And then we'll meet there at 11:20. So like in 5 minutes from now.